Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Super Platinum Achievement. I'm Austin.
And I'm Mitch.
And today we're going to discuss what Microsoft needs to do to win the next generation of console wars. So it's no surprise to anyone that they lost miserably in what is now the current to now previous generation, the PS4, Xbox One generation. They got shellacked, for lack of a better term.
Not even close. So technically the Wii U was in that generation, and that was just scrapped really quickly because the Wii U was a huge failure. But then the Switch came out 3 years ago and has already outsold the Xbox One in 3 years compared to 7 years. Not saying it's a bad console, but it failed.
Yeah, so it got us thinking, like, what does Microsoft need to do to get the Series X and also the Series S, the
rumored Series S.
What it would take for them to be the kings of the next console generation. Yeah. And I think the first one that jumps to our mind is price.
They have to win the price war.
If you recall the start of this PS4, Xbox One, the Xbox One launched $100 more expensive than the PlayStation 4.
Because it was required that you had to get the Kinect with it.
Yes, so that was a bad call on their part because, anyone, obviously the Microsoft fanboys are going to get the Xbox, and obviously the Sony fanboys are going to get the PlayStation 4. It's, the parents who can only afford one console, and the kid's like, I want a console, I want to play Call of Duty or whatever. The parents are going to see $400, $500, pick the $400 one.
Right.
Every time,
Or just a new gamer in general, or somebody who doesn't care as much about exclusives, like you were saying, and wants to play Assassin's Creed and Call of Duty. Which one are they going to buy? They're going to buy the cheaper one.
So that was, I think so, Microsoft really is going to need to beat Sony on the price war of this next generation, which we have no idea, that we've got no prices from anything.
Either of them.
So we know PlayStation is doing two versions of the PlayStation 5, the digital edition and the physical edition as well. We figured there's going to be a price difference between those two consoles, so Microsoft's got to deal with that. So obviously the Series X needs to be cheaper than the PlayStation 5 physical version, and then the Series S, the rumored digital edition Xbox, which is also rumored to be a less powerful version of it. So that's nothing's been confirmed
official.
On that. That's just what we've been rumored is also going to. I mean, I can see that being substantially cheaper than a PlayStation 5.
And I think that's where they can win. Yeah. If it is still powerful enough to be in that next gen conversation. Instead of the 12 teraflops, you got 8. Yeah.
Those 4 teraflops maybe won't make the biggest difference in visuals, but it's enough to make a price change.
Yeah, right. And if they can come out and beat the digital version of the PlayStation by $100, that's their key right there.
So it's gonna be interesting things.
And that might be enough.
We have different markets on different things. So, two consoles are going to go against different, and they're not going to be compared with the other two sides of the console, which is it's a weird thing to see that, two consoles launching from one company at the same time.
Right. Which we'll see how they do, because the Xbox One S digital, I don't think sold
that well at all.
Anything.
Yeah. So we'll see. Digital's been a really big thing.
Obviously, PC people have been doing it forever.
Yeah, so the only issue with that is the size of memory you can have on a console, which is, usually pretty limited.
Which, anymore is irrelevant, because even if you have the physical copy, you're still downloading the entire game anyway.
True.
So it doesn't matter. To me, it's the people that like having it on their shelf. The collectors, the people that not only like having it on their shelf.
That's us.
It's also being able to, if you hated the game or just think, I'll never replay this game, you can sell it, you can trade it. If a friend is like, hey, I haven't played it, I don't want to buy it, but I would like to play it, you can let them have it for a while.
Yeah.
You can't do that with digital.
Yeah, and that leads to the next thing.
Well, you can, but it's a lot more difficult.
The next thing that Microsoft's got to do to beat Sony, which I don't know if it's actually possible right now, is just the games.
There's a lot of people out there that are like, oh, the graphics and the performance and the flop-it-ups and whatever. Games is why we play.
And that's the main reason why the PS4 really did kick butt in the last generation, is they had the games and Microsoft just did not.
Right.
I mean, Halo 5 was a disappointment.
Yeah, even to me, who is not a huge Halo fanboy, I played Halo 5 and was like, what?
Yeah.
And the biggest mistake they made, in my opinion, with that game, a lot of people are complaining about the story, is that Halo to me has always been the most fun game to play as a couch co-op FPS. You sit with your buddy, your spouse. To me, it was my son. I played the Master Chief Collection, played all 4 of those games with him, and then we're like, all right, let's buy Halo 5. Bought 1 copy of Halo 5, and we're like, we can't play together? You have to have another console and another game? Huge, you know, mistake.
Yeah, so that was bad. I mean, because, you know, you think of PlayStation and you're like, well, you know, Uncharted, Last of Us, God of War. I mean, there's a great list of exclusives on the PlayStation side. Knack. Look who's back. No. But yeah, you know, PlayStation had this lineup. Spider-Man was in that lineup.
Big one.
And,
yeah.
you know, that really sold the console, and Xbox just did not have that this last generation. So they need the games. We know they have their, you know, I guess what would be considered their E3 presentation. You know, Sony had theirs a couple of weeks ago. Microsoft's going to be responding here shortly this month. And, you know, they just need to do what Sony did and just go game for the whole time.
And we know that they have purchased a bunch of studios.
Yeah, so, you know, like the studio Ninja Theory, who made Hellblade. So we already know Hellblade 2 is coming out, so that's not a super surprise there. But, you know, they've been buying up a lot of these smaller studios and giving them the money they need to develop these games, which is good. That's what they need to do.
They have Rare, which has been completely underutilized.
Yeah, I mean, Sea of Thieves was a great game, and that was probably one of the best games.
It's like the only thing they've done.
Yeah, it's probably one of the best games of the Xbox One era. So, yeah.
So games are huge. They need to get these studios to start pumping out games, and that's how they can get back in the game of games.
Yeah.
Is by having some great exclusives. Game Pass, I think, is something they've done really well. That's the one thing that they are winning at. Game Pass versus PlayStation Now.
Yeah.
Game Pass is better. I have both consoles. Game Pass is far superior, in my opinion. So, I don't have PlayStation Now. Not a big reason for me to. The games that are on Game Pass and the being able to play it on a PC, that's awesome. But at the same time, that also cripples them, in my opinion, because the PC owners are going to be like, well, we can just have Game Pass.
Yeah, because I'm a PC owner, and so I have Game Pass where I can play. I mean, not every game that goes to Game Pass is both for Xbox and PC, but most of them are. Of course, there won't be, but a lot of the big games are.
Yeah, like Gears 5.
Gears 5 was. I know Sea of Thieves is. Outer Worlds is on there. It's like a lot of these big games, even though that wasn't exclusive, but a lot of these big games can be played on PC,
Hellblade,
which might actually hurt the sales of the Xbox. So we'll see, because I know a lot of people always say their PCs are going to be way more powerful than the new consoles. So we'll see, but they need, if double down on it. And it kind of sounds like that's what their plan is going on Game Pass, doing the games as a service kind of format. So.
Now, things that may have already crippled them that they need to overcome.
Yes.
What do you think?
So the big one is just kind of the stain from last generation.
Yeah.
So I at least for us personally, I know friends of mine, Xbox kind of has left a sour taste in people's mouths after this last generation.
They just started out so poorly.
So, the last generation started poorly because, they went out and said you can't let people borrow your games, DRM locked.
Can't buy used games.
Yeah, like all that stuff.
You got to buy the Kinect.
And that was like, oh, well, this is, and, they started slow and never recovered, and I think that might still carry into this next generation of consoles. So they really need to be out in front.
They need to win back the people they lost.
Yeah, and they definitely lost a lot of people, because I have several friends that had a 360 and not the PS3, but went and bought a PS4, and now are getting a PS5. So
yeah, exactly. The 360 was a fantastic console. Granted, the launch version, as was the PS3, was not done really well. They both had some big issues, but the 360 was fantastic, and they did nothing wrong there. They were right up there with PS3. I think they were only a couple million apart in sales at the end of it. The next thing that's not a huge deal to me, but it is to some people, is the look of the console.
Yeah.
The Xbox Series X looks like a mini fridge.
Yeah, they double down on the box factor. And it literally looks like a black box. And I mean, I know that's only for performance issues.
They put a big fan at the top.
Just to...
And they're like, this is not going to overheat.
Yeah.
We're going to make it perform well, and it's going to be practical, and that's all we care about. Which I can see that. But
and also maybe it has other practical, doorstop. Maybe it'll level your couch or table if it's uneven. You can put it under there.
It might be a great prop if you set it sideways to set your PlayStation 5 on.
Yeah, so these are all the jokes we've seen online, and that's the problem. Is the look of the console has been memed, and memes kind of dictate the internet sometimes. So they got to come back, and I mean, there's nothing they can do there. Like, it's over.
Yeah,
they're like, this is our console.
And we're not going to judge any of the consoles before we play them.
Yeah,
obviously, this generation we are all aboard PlayStation. Last generation, I loved them both. I didn't have a favorite personally. But this generation, it's looking like PlayStation's already winning.
Yeah.
We're not going to just put that out there in the universe. But, yeah, the look, not great. PlayStation looks better. Size will matter, though. The Xbox looks like it might be a little bit more practical for where you can place it. That might work in the advantage in some ways, being the bricky, like if you've got an entertainment center, like, oh, that fits perfectly right here, as long as that fan isn't, right up against the wall.
Then it's useless. Then your console's going to be a pipe bomb.
Yeah.
What does Xbox have? We don't know.
And they've come out with the bold strategy, which I respect them as a company for doing it. They're all about the player right now. Yeah. And in our current situation in the world, a lot of people are having economic downfalls and hardships. And people may not be able to afford a brand new console this holiday season on top of having to buy presents and whatever because they were furloughed or unemployed for 4 months, or that's a worst case scenario, for even a month. And that extra money is just not there. So Xbox has recognized that, and kudos to them for this. They are thinking about the people, and they're like, we don't care. Phil Spencer came out and said, to us, it is not about our first year of selling consoles. We don't care. We're about the gamers, and we want to, cater to them. And all the games that are coming out on Xbox Series X in at least the first year are also going to be launched on the Xbox One. So Halo Infinite is going to come out on the Xbox One. All the other games, which we don't know, are going to come out on the Xbox One because they are caring about the gamers who may not be able to afford a new console right now. So, even though it's going to hurt them in the hardware purchases, they've come out and said, Phil Spencer has come out and said, we don't care in that first year.
Yeah.
Which I respect.
Well, I mean, Sony sold the PlayStation 4 at a loss originally. So, I mean, that was the gamble they did, and it paid off. So, this sounds like Microsoft might be doing the same thing this year. Right. Selling their consoles cheaper at a loss, and then hope that, maybe Game Pass or just the game sales bump up their profits.
Yeah, like or I think a great strategy is if Halo Infinite comes out and is just a killer app and people love it, and then all of a sudden within 2 years they're like, boom, here's another Halo game already, but it's exclusive to the Series X. Yeah, that's where they come back and
that's kind of similar to
Gears.
Switch and the Wii U. It's kind of a weird thing. Breath of the Wild came out for Switch and the Wii U, but the Breath of the Wild 2 is obviously only going to be a Switch. So we have friends who played Breath of the Wild on the Wii U, and I actually talked to them yesterday. He said, "Oh, well, we'll buy a Switch when Breath of the Wild 2 comes out." Right, and that might be the same thing Xbox does. It's like, hold on to your console now, and then maybe when you can buy the new one.
Which that's almost exactly not exactly, but that's kind of what Nintendo did when Nintendo was announcing their new console. They didn't say exactly what it was. They said this is not going to replace the Wii U right out of the gates, and it didn't. So there were not games that were like must-haves that came out with the Switch right away that you couldn't play on the Wii U. Breath of the Wild was a dual launch. That was the big one. A year down the road, or I think it was 6 months down the road, where the big games came out. Super Mario Odyssey, I think, was the next huge one. I don't remember when it came out in coordination with the launch.
November.
I think it was November of 2017. You know, by then people are like, okay, now I'm sold on the Switch. We'll get it. But yeah, I digress. That could be their strategy. We don't know.
Yeah, because it sounds like Sony's not doing that because they kind of already announced all the games from this point on are going to be PS5 and not PS4 games. So,
and obviously so Ghost of Tsushima is their last PS4 exclusive
game. So every exclusive from this point on is going to be PlayStation 5. But every PS4 game needs to play on the PlayStation 5. I don't know, it's a whole weird thing, kind of confusing.
And that's another thing. So there's the smart delivery that Xbox has put pride in, has talked about very openly, where if you buy a game, so say you buy, and this is going to happen, I won't use Cyberpunk because they already said they're going to do it on both consoles. So say Assassin's Creed Valhalla. You buy that on the Xbox One, and then 6 months down the road, you buy a Xbox Series X, and you haven't finished the game for some reason, or you just want to play it again, you automatically get the upgraded version of the game, which is great. That's, you know, to me, that's what I would expect.
Yeah, don't have to buy the game another time.
Right, to get the enhanced visuals.
Unless you're trying to compete against Skyrim to being the most resold game of all time. Yeah. Other than that, you know. Yeah, maybe Xbox will open. You know, Sony opened theirs with Grand Theft Auto 5. Maybe Xbox will open theirs with Skyrim. Yeah. We don't know.
And we haven't heard anything from Sony as far as confirmation on what they're doing with that. They have not said, yes, if you buy a game on the PlayStation 4 and then that same game on the PlayStation 5 will automatically be upgraded. They have not said that. So we don't know. I assume they're going to do something similar. But Xbox has flat out said it's going to be seamless. You're going to get the better version of this game. So that could be the thing that sets them apart. If Sony doesn't do that, I would be shocked if they don't do something.
But maybe Sony won't have that issue if they don't dual release games. So
right. But with third parties, they don't have that control. True. Like I said, with Assassin's Creed.
But then I think that's up to the studio. So we'll see. I don't know. But maybe Sony said, nah, it's all right. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, we'll see. So those are the things we think that Xbox needs to do. Comes down to overcoming their past issues, winning the price war, and just having better games. That's number one.
It's the games. Yeah, you know, it doesn't matter how powerful your console is. If you don't have the games to sell that console, people aren't going to use it.
Right. You can play Call of Duty or Assassin's Creed on both. So which one is going to have that bonus that you're going to get?
Yeah,
So that's our thoughts. If you like these kind of videos, make sure to like, subscribe, follow us on Facebook.
And share.
Instagram, Twitter, and share because you care. And
then ring our notification bell. You know,
so you can see all the future videos that we talk about stuff like this. We do all sorts of videos, anything related to gaming. Thanks for stopping by with Super Platinum Achievement.